Hey everybody, it was the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival last weekend, and I can't wait to share with you all the sheepy, woolly, and fibery goodness. Hi, I'm Melanie, and you're watching Yarn Journeys. I'm a knitter, spinner, and sometimes sewist, and I live in Arlington, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. If you're a returning viewer to Yarn Journeys, welcome back. And if you are new to my channel, I am so glad you found me. So here's what's up for today's video. First, we're going to head to the fair. I'm going to show you some of the footage that I was able to take as I was walking through the barns and seeing all the exhibitors and fun stuff to see and do. It is at best only a taste because, man, there is a lot to the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. But hopefully it'll give you a sense of what it was like to be there. Second, I am going to show you what I took home with me. And then, as always, I'll go through the progress of my recent projects in show and tell. So with no further ado, let's head to the festival. It was awesome to take in-person spinning classes through Maryland Sheep and Wool. And I got to take a course with Jillian Moreno, the author of Yarnitecture. We're here, just parked. It's in a big field. Didn't have to wait in line long to get in the parking lot, but I think I'm gonna have to wait a while to actually get into the fairgrounds. But once you got in, oh my goodness, such beautiful yarn and fiber there was to look at. The main exhibition hall was crowded from the get-go. Miss Babs drew the biggest crowd. The barns were full of festival goers, eager to look at what the vendors had to offer. The festival also has knitting competitions, and these prize winners are gorgeous. I grabbed lunch from Fiber Festival favorite French Artichoke and grabbed a shady spot under a tree to watch this father and daughter duo while I ate my lunch. And how can you not go watch the adorable border collies doing the sheepdog demonstrations? The fleece sale had a huge selection of amazing, beautiful fleeces for sale if you're into washing and prepping your own fiber for spinning. But the best part is going to look at all the adorable sheep. This coated pair of sheep looked like bank robbers. It was a fun day at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. So as you can tell from the footage I just shared with you, there were a lot of vendors with wonderful fiber and yarn and sheep-related products and pottery and goodies. And of course, I really did have to bring some home with me. As you can see, I came home with these cute sheep ears. They're made out of wool felt, and these are real Coopworth sheep locks that are attached to the headband. They were selling these headbands at the American Coopworth Sheep Registry booth, and well, I just thought they were adorable, and I had to have some come home with me. I suppose I should kind of take them off. It may be hard to take me seriously wearing these things, but they are adorable. What else did I get at the festival? There's some yarn. Jill Draper Makes Stuff. This is a hand-dyed yarn vendor I was unfamiliar with. I think I'd heard the name somewhere, but this is beautiful yarn. I got 4 skeins of the peridot, and this is the mohawk yarn base. And this is also the mohawk yarn base in the colorway Chintz Rose. It's sport weight, and it just feels so nice and squishy. It says 100% lamb's wool, hand dyed with love, made from sheep to skein in the U.S. So squishy and pretty. I couldn't decide between the green. I love this color green, and I happen to have been born in August, for which the birthstone is peridot, and I am almost always wearing my peridot earrings. And then I just saw this chintz rose color, and you can see how it's just a bit tonally dyed. And I couldn't decide between the two, so I bought both. And I think I have 3 skeins of the green, and no, I have 4 skeins of the green and 2 skeins of the chintz rose. So I am thinking that this can be some sort of color work thing, maybe a pressed flowers cardigan. We shall see. But man, I wish there was such a thing as Squish-A-Vision, because this is some beautiful yarn that I just couldn't leave at the fair. And there's more. I am a big fan of At Haynes House yarns. I saw them last week at the Frederick Fiber Festival, and I love their reds. But they happen to have this skein of peach and green. And it is, the colorway is called Not Honeydew. I just love peachy and pink with just a little smattering of green. So I'm definitely on a peach and green kick these days. Besides my sheep ears, I got a few other mementos from the fair. I got a t-shirt. There were long lines to get t-shirts, and I lucked out in getting the color and size I want. Literally, it was the last one from the shelf. And it is the 50th anniversary of the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. So this is a nice memento. Very springy, that lavender and green. And I got a mug because, you know, you can't have too many mugs. So I thought this was cute because it had a sheep on it. I'm an easy mark. And let's get into the fiber, shall we? Because I am a spinner, and Maryland Sheep and Wool has some of the best collections of fiber providers. I mean, the fleece sale is world famous. I am not yet ready for washing and processing fleece from raw. It's something I want to do in the future, but I feel like I want to be a more confident spinner and have a really good idea of what I'm hoping for once I start getting into raw fleeces. But not to worry, there are plenty of other spinning fiber products at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, and I got into that. So Angel Locs Fiberworks is a small mill in Westminster, Maryland, and actually in a preview streaming event for Maryland Sheep and Wool back in February. I think it was in February. They did a streaming presentation of how their fiber mill works and so on. But what they're particularly famous for is their gradient bats. So this is, as you can see, it's a bat. It's a very tightly wound bat, and you are meant to spin either from the outside or you can pull from the inside. And if you spin continuously, you will have for example, with this one, you'll have a yarn that starts with this sort of rosy pink in the center and ends in black. I got two Corriedale bats. This one is pink to black through gray, and this one is pink from white into sort of like this off gray to the sort of camely color. Now, I think what I'm going to do, because I want to ply this yarn, is I will probably see if I can figure out where the outside of this is without pulling apart the whole bat. It's got to be here somewhere. I'm going to want to do applied version, so I will try as best I can to break this down into two even strips. So that's my spinning plan for these guys, but I just think this one wants to come done. I think once you start to break them down, they really break down. So I just like looking and squishing at them because they're things of beauty in and of themselves, but I can't wait to start spinning these Corriedale gradient bats. So earlier in the week, I took a spinning class with Jill Duarte of Hip Strings, in which she took us through how to spin various fiber blends, which was very interesting and dangerous because she used the blends from her own production, and as a result, through the class, we were sampling her yarn. We were sampling her fiber blends. This is actually the sort of sample from that class, and what she had us do is we would spin from a blend, then put in a brightly colored stretch of, this is like merino, I think. And then when I got home, I chain plied what was on my bobbin and finished it, and then thought, I think she's going to be a vendor at the festival. And aren't some of these blends really gorgeous? And so she was one of the first vendors I went shopping at because I thought her stuff was pretty awesome, and I wanted to make sure that I got some of it. So let me show you what I got. So first, this is confetti cake. It doesn't it look like icing with pink sprinkles on it, and it is a blend of superwash merino wool, sari silk, and tri-lobal rainbow nylon. And what that means is that it's glitter. So a little sparkle. So here, I'm going to hold this up to the camera. Hopefully it will show you how shiny this is. It's so pretty. And, at first I'm like, it kind of looks like unicorn barf, if you excuse the phrase. But here is the sample yarn that I made. And I don't know if you can see this. Hopefully you can. But I just love the Tweety shots of pink on the silky off-white. So, this would be a beautiful accent yarn or perhaps a shawl all on its own. So I also got from Hip Strings these beautiful red, dark brown, and white stripy braids. It's called Black Forest Gâteau, and it is a mix of merino wool, Shetland wool, and tussa silk and sari silk. I didn't get to sample this color, but I am such a sucker for red, as you know. And we sampled a similar silk and Shetland wool blend in the class, and it really spun like a dream. So I think this would be gorgeous in a like super sexy lacy shawl or, anyway, red, silky, soft, squishy. And finally, this was something we spun in the class, and it's just so buttery and soft. This is 70% superfine merino, so 21.5 microns, 1.5% yak, and those are the the darker stripes within the braid, and tussa silk. This is so soft. It's like kitten fur. It is so nice. And this one we did play with in class. Here it is. It is just really soft. I kind of overspun it when I did my chain ply, so it's a bit overplied, but it is really soft and really nice. I think it would make a lovely yarn for a cowl. So nice to have all these samples to play with and then get a sense for what you wanted to buy later. Smart marketing, Jill. Smart marketing. So really, there needs to be squish-a-vision for knitters because this is just divine. All right, gotta stop petting the wool. And I've got some more show and tell for you. So I sewed. Yes, I do say I'm a sometime sewist, and it is true. I did sew. I made this lovely cross body purse, and I am so proud of it. This is a pattern from Noodlehead, who is a very well-known sewing pattern for bags producer. And I've made other bags by Noodlehead and really love her directions and patterns. They come out very well. In fact, the Fabric for this bag is the combination of leftovers from two other bags I've made. So what's on the side and the side pockets is this fabric that is made to look like watercolor pans. So if you are a watercolor artist, you may sort of recognize what this kind of looks like. And then the center part is just some embroidered chambray that I picked up at Joann's one day last year. And there's some pockets in the center. So, you know, I do sew. And this project, I did it all in one day. I didn't mean to complete it all in one day. What happened was, you know, I cut the fabric and then I was like, oh, I'll do another step. And so then I sewed a few seams and, oh, I'll do the next step. And then before I knew it, it was the afternoon. I had two more steps to finish and the bag would be done. And I just decided to press through to the end of the day and get the bag done. So I am so glad to have this purse. It is fun and it is very me. And if you like to sew bags, highly recommend the Noodlehead patterns. But on to the knitting, shall we? So in a way, I have finished my husband's Gib II sweater. I don't know if I can show you the whole thing, but you know, both sleeves are done. It has been blocked. I haven't woven in all the ends yet. I am not happy with the neck. It's a bit loosey-goosey and it isn't got like that tight neck ribbing look. Not that I want the neck to be tight, I don't, but I do want it to look neat and I want the edges to look nice. So of course, with this sweater, you started casting on with the neck and then did short rows in the back, finished the neck, and then went on to the raglan and knit the body and so forth. What I'm going to do is insert a needle into the bottom row of the neck ribbing, then delicately rip out the neck and then knit it up. You know, when you start off with the neck, you haven't really made friends with the yarn yet. And I think I just either had a different gauge or was knitting more loosely or something. It just doesn't look right. So once I fix the neck, this lovely sweater for my husband will be complete. I have a new cast on. As I've mentioned a number of times in previous episodes, I have been wanting to learn brioche so that I can knit James Watt's Earth and Air sweater. And I have cast it on and I'm about 4 inches in. I am knitting it with Magpie Fibers, Swanky DK, which is their merino cashmere nylon DK paste, and their Plume, which is their silk and cashmere lace weight yarn. It's sort of like the cashmere version of Kid Silk, if you're familiar with mohair silk. So the third cast on was the charm. It is knit on 10.5 US size needles. So that's some pretty big needles. And it takes a bit of getting used to this gauge where you're doing 2-color brioche with one yarn that's DK and one yarn that is lace weight. And so getting used to reading my knitting took some practice. And so I've started off slow and beginning to pick up speed. So it's knit from the bottom up. I've got about 6 more inches to go according to the pattern, but I'm not running out of yarn anytime soon, so I might take it to 12 inches. because I don't want it to be so cropped. But it is really delightful to feel and to knit with, and I'm really pleased that I finally have cast on this sweater because it's something that I've wanted to work on for a long time. So that's all for today's episode of Yarn Journeys. I hope you enjoyed the visit to the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. I'm going to put on my sheep's ears again because they're so cute. I feel like a 4-year-old who doesn't want to take off their Halloween costume or just wanders around the house in their Halloween costume long after the holiday. I mean, and why not? Anyway, if you enjoyed the episode, please do hit the like button. It will help this channel find folks like you who might enjoy the content. And if you don't want to miss another episode of Yarn Journeys, please do hit the subscribe button. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.